Also tonight, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy speaking out today about the brutal attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, calling it wrong. We're hearing from him about the incident for the first time. Let's listen.
Let me be very clear. Violence or threats of violence has no place in our society. What happened to Paul Pelosi was wrong. I reached out to the speaker. I called her. I know she was on a plane coming back to California, but I was able to text with her to tell her about our prayers for Paul. Thankfully, he's going to be okay, but thankfully the attacker is a deranged individual, but thankfully he was arrested.
Republican Congressman James Comer of Kentucky joins us now from Louisville. He is the ranking member of the Oversight Committee and is poised to become chairman of the Oversight Committee if Republicans win the majority in the midterms. Congressman, thanks for coming on the show. So first off, do you join Kevin McCarthy in condemning the attack on Paul Pelosi? McCarthy, as you heard there, said what happened to him is flat out wrong.
Of course. I mean, I condemn any attack of political violence from anyone of either party. It's wrong. I've said for several years now, the rhetoric keeps getting worse and worse, and it's a very difficult environment out there. You have a lot of people that get so fired up because of various political causes. It puts many politicians in a dangerous spot.
I want to focus on this, though, in particular, because Nancy Pelosi has been demonized by the GOP for years. The attacker was shouting, "Where is Nancy?" which is exactly what we heard on January 6th from some rioters. The Washington Post is reporting Pelosi is the top member maligned in political ads ahead of the midterms, according to Ad Impact. Whataboutism aside, should your colleagues tone down the rhetoric here and also bat away some of these conspiracies that this attacker was apparently talking about online?
Well, I think that people in both parties should tone down the rhetoric.
But I said, what about him on that side? Let's talk about the GOP. And we just saw that the husband of the House Speaker being attacked with a hammer, and she is heavily maligned and demonized by the right. So go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, she's demonized, as is Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer, and I'm sure Kevin McCarthy, when he's become Speaker, will be demonized. It's a terrible environment. And I believe people in both parties are guilty of intense rhetoric that really leads to, feed into these people who are deranged and create violence. It's the same thing that happened with the shooter that shot at Steve Scalise and several of the Republican colleagues. Violence is wrong. These people need to be put in jail for the rest of their life. And, we need to try to do better in both parties, myself included.
Well, that's big of you to include yourself in that. But I am just curious. I mean, just honestly here, why, with the other attacks like Steve Scalise and Lee Zeldin, I mean, the White House did condemn that. Why, and other Democrats did too, they were very quick to condemn that in those cases. Why in this case does there have to be like, well, there's also, an addendum, a qualifier? Why can't it just be like, no, this is really bad? And we denounce this violence against Paul Pelosi and yes, we should lower the rhetoric on our side. Like, why do we have to bring in the other side on something like this?
I mean, I believe that the Republican leaders, I know Scalise tweeted out early on. That's where I learned about it. I followed Scalise on Twitter, and then I got a message that McCarthy had sent out that he had tried to reach Nancy Pelosi and offered his prayers to her. I mean, I think that Republicans were quick to condemn the violence. Look, we've got to, we're all concerned out there. We all had town halls a few years ago when the health care debate was raging, and there was an effort to repeal health care. That was a very challenging time. That was my freshman year in Congress, and the town halls got out of hand. I had several get out of hand, even in my rural Kentucky district. So, this is a terrible thing, and our thoughts go out to the Pelosi family, and hopefully the attacker will be put in jail for a long time.
All right, we could go on about this, but there's a lot of other topics to talk about, Congressman. I want to talk about the economy. Republicans, including you, have slammed Democrats for rising inflation. Americans are hard hit, no doubt about it. I was just in Kentucky, where you are now, talking to Kentuckians, and they all talked about the rising prices. But we're also seeing inflation in places like Great Britain and Europe. It is a global problem. So what is the specific Republican plan to improve the economy?
Well, the Republican plan to improve the economy is twofold. First of all, we want to stop unnecessary spending, because I believe that's what's led to a lot of the inflation. We've had stimulus in the name of COVID. We've had extended unemployment. We had the PPP loan program, which I believe contributed to inflation. There's a lot of government spending with the Inflation Reduction Act, which I believe really increased inflation. Just too much government spending. So the Republicans are going to have to get unnecessary spending under control. And secondly, we've got to reverse course on our energy policy. I believe that the Biden energy policy is kind of a model of what the Green New Deal would look like. It's, we frowned on drilling. We need to get out of the way. The government needs to get out of the way of our American energy industry. We need to let the energy industry do what it does best, and that's produce energy. We can be energy independent in the United States. We shouldn't have to go to the OPEC and beg for more oil. We can produce the oil in the United States. And I believe right now the policies of this administration have led to higher gas prices, which contributes to inflation. Now we've got a potential shortage of diesel. That could not only increase inflation, but also lead to more challenges with the supply chain shortages. So we've got a lot of challenges in our economy, and I think that it's going to take new leadership in Washington to reverse course on spending and our energy policy.
And you said a lot there, and a lot of it is based on Democrats' policies that you disagree with. And you also mentioned the PPP, which was under the Trump administration. But I'm wondering, do Republicans feel like they don't need a plan because voters will just blame Democrats? Because a lot of what I hear from Republicans is about Democratic policies that they don't like, that they think is hurting Americans, though rising prices are seen all over the place in other countries. But is there a sense that, like, look, voters are going to vote for Republican on the economy because they're going to blame the Democrats? We don't even need a plan to lay out.
Well, I think it's pretty clear, if the polling's right, that the voters are pretty frustrated with inflation. They're frustrated with crime. And when you look at who to blame, you have a Democrat White House, a Democrat Senate, and a Democrat House. So I believe the voters are going to take their frustrations out on the Democrats. Then it'll be the Republicans' opportunity to govern. And we're going to have to govern, and we're going to have to fix some of these problems. We can't just talk about it. We're going to have to actually do something about it. And I think getting spending under control and trying to reverse our energy policies, obviously we want to secure the border. We think that's created a lot of problems with respect to crime and drugs in the United States. So we have a pretty clear agenda with respect to reducing inflation, getting our energy industry back on its feet, and trying to reduce crime.